Today we have a beautiful but cold day in Chengdu, China. And tonight I decide to visit yet another Michelin Bib Gourmand noodle shop. This place is called Mosnack. It serves both noodles and different dumplings. And this place is really clean. I think this is the cleanest fly restaurant I have ever seen. This is no longer a greasy table. This is clean table. The environment is cozy, and this is no longer a hole in the wall in the sense that it has closure and there is heating inside, which is really nice. And there are TVs on the wall playing CCTV, the Central Chinese News, as you might hear from the background. And they have some classic items here. They have dumpling, like 2 different kinds, which I'm gonna get to in a bit, and noodles. So the first bowl we have again, Suja Noodle Jiang, vegan chili mixed sauce. As you can see, I ordered this noodle at every restaurant because this is basically serves as a control group. You can tell from how good the noodle is just from this dish. So we have the noodle, some scallion, some meat sauce, chili oil, you know the stuff, fragrance from the garlic, a little bit soy sauce. You know what? This noodle feels yet different from all the other noodles I had before. The texture is a bit interesting. It's sort of firm, it sort of has a chew. There's almost kind of like resistance when you're chewing it, giving you the impression that it's firm, but at the same time, I gotta try this again. It's not exactly al-dente. Of course, you shouldn't expect this from Chinese noodle. It still has the firmness, but it is not as bouncy. Yes, that's a term. It's not as bouncy as some other noodle you have in northern part of China or some of the handmade pasta. As for the sauce, it's pretty spot on. Pretty much just classic Suja noodle sauce. You have a bit lard, a little bit chili oil, a hint of smokiness, a bit umami, and a bit garlic flavor. This one, the garlic flavor is also not like very potent, which I like because if it's too potent, it will leave that taste in your mouth long after you eat it. So sauce is good, the noodle is interesting. It's good noodle, but it's just different. Next up, we have this Suan Tang Shui Jiao, sour cabbage dumpling. As you can see, we have 6 pieces of big dumpling here, scallion, a lot of sesame seeds, chili oil, very fragrant. And there are some, I think that's like kelp or seaweed. Okay, let's try the soup first. Since this is Suan Tang Shui Jiao, which is sour soup dumpling. Just a hint of sourness, not very strong, but it's balanced by the chili oil, a little bit cilantro even, some scallion. There's a bit freshness from it. There's also this seaweed. The sourness comes from the seaweed. Maybe they did some treatment with vinegar or something. This is good, like this is really balanced, not hugely sour, just a hint of it, but you really get like the fragrant chili oil, not too flavorful sesame seeds, fresh scallion, no. Look at the size of the dumpling. Dumpling is pretty good. There's a word that we use, it's called 皮薄馅儿大. Thin skin, big filling. This is a classic example of that. The filling is very tender, it is meat with leek. But there's a big filling inside. There's also a little bit of bounciness from the skin. Good flavor, nice and big filling. I can see why this is one of the best sellers here. Some more noodle. Actually, the noodle is cooked al-dente. This is surprising, and that's some good mastery of cooking technique here. And that's also what gives the noodle its strength. But at the same time, it's not as firm as some other noodles I have. So this is like a cross in between. Our next bowl, we have Qing Jiao Ji Ding, which is green chili and chicken thighs or chicken tikka. I can already smell that fragrance. It's actually kind of spicy. Can you smell spicy? I think you could. There's some xiao mi la here. This like xiao mi la, literally little rice, chili. This thing is like really spicy. Some onions, a whole lot of sesame seeds, some chicken. I grow to like this noodle more. I really like the firmness. It is actually cooked al-dente, which is kind of surprising because automatically, in my concept, like Chinese noodle is never al-dente. Also, it's a little difficult to tell if the noodle is al dente just by eating it. I get a feel of it. I think it might be, but like I automatically negate that thought because I thought like, Chinese noodle is never al dente, but for this case, it is. I guess if you want to make sure, you have to check with your eyes. Chicken diced. Tender, small heat. Chili. I'm not sure if this is gonna be very spicy. Okay, this one is fine. Onion. This one is spicy. Yeah, this is spicy, but that one doesn't have a lot of seed. But if you eat the other ones that has more seeds, it's gonna be really, really spicy. And this one doesn't have a whole lot of sauce, but the flavor does get coated on the noodle, but it's not a very, like a strong sauce flavor. It's mild, right? You have the flavor from the chicken, from this dish, and just a little bit sauce coating around it, just to give you a scent of that flavor. I really like it. This firmness, this al dente-ness of it, but it doesn't have much bounciness in it, probably due to the manufacturing technique of the noodle. In fact, this noodle shop get their noodle from a dedicated supplier, same as Yangbo-Ying we mentioned before. A lot of noodle shops don't get their dedicated supplier. This is one of the exceptions. I like this noodle as good as the Yangbo-Ying, the one that I mentioned, one of the best here, but they're very different. Yangbo-Ying has more firmness and better toppings, but this one has maybe a nicer texture. The other one called 竹记之面铺, aka Pasteria de Zhu, which I named it, that one has more bounce, but not enough of a firmness. So this is kind of like the cross between the two. Yes. I've grown to like this noodle very much. Ganban Douban Chaoshou. So this is dry mix. And this one has homemade Doubanjiang. Oh my God, that fragrance. Yeah, you could tell. Like it's so much more strong. And there's also a little bit like fermented, almost like furu type of flavor. I can smell the funkiness and umami. That is amazing. There is a huge differences between house-made / factory douban. Just look at these like red chili here. And just a bit more terminology here. Usually we refer to this type of thing as dumpling, right? But actually dumpling just refer to anything that's like a dump. That's why it's called dumpling. You dump that into water, you cook it, that's a dumpling. And it doesn't even have to have fillings. I mean, anything with filling could be called a dumpling. Like baozi could be called dumpling, mantou could be called dumpling. So is this. And even things without filling can be called dumplings. So for example, some Caribbean food, you have those coconut dumplings, or Italian gnocchi. These are all considered dumpling in a broader sense. So usually when you're referring this as dumpling, it's not a very accurate translation. The one that I had before and the one usually have is called jiaozi, right? That's a type of dumpling, jiaozi. This is called chaoshou, and this is a different one. You most likely haven't had this one unless you're from China, because I haven't seen any shop in United States sell chaoshou. They only sell jiaozi, which is named dumpling. And the difference is that jiaozi, or dumpling as you know it, has a round skin and is usually much thicker, while chaoshou is a square skin and much thinner. Oh, like wonton, right? Wonton is basically chaoshou, but it's like in Cantonese. And sometimes the filling is different. They might mix egg in it and sometimes smaller, but as thin. That is mad good. Again, very big filling, very meaty, and you just have like the fragrance from the fermented Doubanjiang. Oh man, this is so strong and also kind of spicy. Some noodle soup. One more. Again, the skin is really nice. Has a slight bounciness to it. And the Doubanjiang is just very fragrant, very potent because it's made in-house, very spicy. Because usually for the Doubanjiang, there's usually more chili, but as the time ages, the spicy flavor gets subdued and you got more of a funky fermented flavor as you know it. Because this one is freshly made in-house, so it's in an early stage, so it's like very fragrant, but the chili is also much more potent. Yes, the douban, soybean itself, is more potent, but so is the other one, and much more. Just a little correction here, the doubanjiang here, the bean is not soybean, but broad beans, and you're gonna wait until it ferments and it grows this little fur, which is the bacteria, right, that's used for fermenting it. Then you mix it with chili. This is some of the top chaoshou I had. This is really good. All right, I just finished my meal at Mosnack. Yes, that's the English name here. The food is really good, the noodle is great. Actually, I come to love this noodle very much. I think I might like just the noodle itself even better than the one at Yangbo Inn. So when it comes to just the noodle, I think this is pretty much number one, top notch. The toppings, this one could improve on its varieties and the refineness of it. The dumpling, jiaozi and chaoshou, those are both very good, and I in particular like the house-made fermented Robin Doubanjiang Chaoshou. That one is like great. Their skin is like great, made in house, really bouncy, nice and big meaty filling. Overall, a very nice place, very clean. It's got heating inside, perfect for winter. Maybe part of the Michelin is because of the AC, because the inspect was too cold. And with that being said, I'll continue my culinary journey in Chengdu, China. Remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you next one. Ciao.